Tesla did it. They released their proprietary Tesla plug, and it is now the North American charging standard. Yesterday, Friday, November 11, Tesla released all the information about their proprietary plug, about the AC charging plug, the DC charging plug, and the charging port. Everything has been released and given away. Anybody can go onto their website and download all the information, the spec sheets, and the explanation on how it works, as well as 3 CAD files. And so now anybody can actually make their own plugs. So a charging station manufacturer can now make Tesla plugs and put it on their charging stations. And any OEM, any car manufacturer can now actually make their own Tesla charge port and put it on their cars. Tesla has released it all. The reason they stated to do so is their mission to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. If you go to their website, under their blogs, you can find their reasons why they released the plug. Also, you find the links there to the documents that give you all the specifications for the plugs. And I certainly have to agree with Tesla that their plug is super easy to deal with. It's a superior design in my mind compared to the CCS, which is big and clunky and hard to maneuver around. Also, they have a big point here that they point out they have more than a decade of use on their plug and over 20 billion EV charging miles to its name. Charging miles is important. It's not miles driven by Teslas, it's actual miles charged by Teslas on level 2 wall connectors or the supercharger network. And also, there are already some charging providers out there. I believe EVgo already has Tesla connectors installed on some at their charging locations. And there's another one, I can't remember which one. I believe they have charging stations in New York because they have those Tesla taxis and things there, something going like that. If you know, please comment down below. If you know of any other charging providers that already have the Tesla plug, please comment below. But that said, now they have huge interest in charge station manufacturers and the charging providers that want to have the Tesla plug because obviously they want to get their share of revenue from Tesla owners. They would like to sell some power to them. And so far that has been an issue because it was a Tesla proprietary plug. But now Tesla opened it up and it's called the NACS, the North American Charging Standard. And since they provide all the information, now anybody can actually manufacture that plug or the charge port that goes on the car. And so any charging infrastructure provider can now have Tesla plugs at no extra cost. They just have to have it manufactured, just like they would have to have a CCS or a CHAdeMO manufactured. But also the OEMs, the car manufacturers, can now benefit from that. And as you probably know, Aptera has been pushing for that. They wanted to use the Tesla plug, and so they certainly can now. It's opened up, and they can have the Tesla plug, which allows them to design that really nice and easy into their Aptera car that's coming out. But anybody can do that now. So a VW, a Mercedes, a Polestar, a Nissan, anybody can actually now manufacture that charge port and put it on their car. Now this has lots of advantages for drivers of cars that that don't have a Tesla. If you don't have a Tesla right now, you cannot take advantage of the Tesla supercharging network at this time. You can use the Tesla destination chargers if you have an adapter. But now imagine if all of those cars would have a Tesla plug. You can actually take advantage of the Tesla supercharging network, which is the largest network by far in North America. And so it would be super simple. It's all plug and play. It's done basically, it's through the app for non-Teslas in Europe where they opened it up. So I would assume it would be through the app as well here in North America, and you could just pull up to a supercharger and plug in and start your session. So it would be very beneficial. I mean, that would open up so many opportunities for vehicles that are currently CCS if they all could actually do Tesla charging. And since there is so many more supercharger, I believe there is at least twice as many supercharger stalls out there than there is combined all the other charging provider stalls. So all the CCS stalls are about half of that what we have in superchargers. And so that would give a huge opportunity. Obviously, CCS would have to stay around for a while, but it's kind of like the CHAdeMO. CCS probably would phase out here in North America if everybody would switch to the Tesla plug. And infrastructure providers like Electrify America or EVgo or ChargePoint, they can just add the Tesla plug to their chargers. It's really not a big deal for them to change over at all. Also, for the car manufacturers, it's not a huge deal. They just throw out the CCS charge port and put in the NACS port, and they're basically in business. And it works for AC charging and it works for DC charging. You don't have to have different plugs. Like currently, we have a plug for AC charging here in the United States. For level 1 and level 2 charging, we use the J1772. And then for DC fast charging on a non-Tesla, we use either the CHAdeMO or the CCS. By the way, the CCS is different here in the United States than in Europe. In Europe, there's the Type 2, while in the United States, we have the Type 1 CCS. So they're completely different plugs. So if you have a car from the United States and you take it over to Europe, don't think you could plug it in and charge it at a CCS station there. Not so, because it uses the communication via the J1772, which is a Type 2 in Europe, but it's a Type 1 here in the United States. So it would be a completely different plug. So now that said, we already have a difference between European vehicles and North American vehicles. So we might as well go to this Tesla standard, to this NACS standard, and go with it because it's definitely a sleek plug. Makes it real easy. It's the same plug for AC and DC charging. So it will make everything so much simpler rather than having multiple plugs. And so, yeah, if you're interested, you can go look at their website here. And another important thing, the cool fact is on the Tesla plug, there is rather than having a mechanical lock, there is just a button on there. And this little button, you just press it. And if you design the car accordingly, you just come up within a couple feet of range of the car, you press the button and it opens your charge port and you just plug in. Unlike right now with the CCS where you have to press something in the car, outside the car, or you have to manually open a door. And then usually you have another plug covering, sometimes you have two plugs, sometimes you have a plug covering the upper part and the DC fast charging part. Sometimes you just have a lower plug that you have to pull off. I mean, difficult. While the Tesla, they don't have that. You just press the button, the charge door opens, you plug in. and that's it. There's no extra covers, nothing required. So super simple. That's another feature that a CCS doesn't have, and obviously it is much smaller. And it has proven itself. It works. It's been on so many cars. There's many more Teslas out there than any other electric cars with a CCS. So it has proven itself so many times. And here actually it says NACS is the most common charging standard in North America. NACS vehicles outnumber CCS 2 to 1. And Tesla's supercharging network has 60% more NACS posts than all other CCS equipped networks combined. So there's so many more Tesla chargers out there than CCS. It would just make it so much easier. Obviously, there is a benefit to all this for Tesla. The benefit is now if other manufacturers switch over to this NACS, then Tesla can actually sell power to other cars, to non-Tesla owners, right? So that's a benefit there. But it works the other way around, just like Electrify America can then sell power to Tesla owners. Non-Tesla owners could then charge at Tesla superchargers. And another benefit to it for Tesla is probably that it will make it easy for them to open their charging network, their supercharging network, to others, because with this, they don't have to change anything on their superchargers. They don't have to provide any adapters, or the owner of CCS or of cars that would then now no longer have a CCS. They don't have to buy an adapter anymore. If you have a CCS right now, you would have to buy an adapter possibly, or Tesla has to provide the adapter. I mean, it's a cost here or there. If everybody just switches to NAC standard, then that wouldn't be an issue anymore because they would just plug in. And I think it would be a huge benefit for the EV industry in North America if they switch to that, because there is so many more chargers out there, gives so many more opportunities. Also for the designers of electric cars, it's just great because it uses so much less space on a car. You don't have to have this big fuel door anymore. You can just have a little tiny one. And it's so easy to handle. No extra plugs, no nothing. You don't have to think about what plug is what, where do I plug in, whatever. It's just the same plug. You can do it one-handed, get out of the car, have your hands full with, have your one hand full with stuff. You just grab that, press the button, open the charge port, plug it in, and walk away. I mean, it's super easy. Now, all that said, it is called the NACS, and S stands for standard. Now, a standard does not mean it's mandatory by law to do so, okay? In Europe, the CCS standard is mandatory by law. The European Union decided every electric car has to come with the CCS Type 2, so that they're all the same. So a Tesla in Europe has a CCS Type 2 charge port because that is mandatory. But in the United States or in North America, there are several standards right now, which is the Tesla proprietary plug, or was the proprietary plug, is now NACS, the CCS Type 1, and then we have the J1772, and we have a CHAdeMO. So we have all these standards, but none of them are mandatory. So if everybody would switch to NAC standard, that would make it easy, even if it's not mandatory. If not, I think a standard should be made mandatory to make it a little easier, so that we don't have all these plugs and have to figure out who has what plug. which now actually is somewhat resolved now that every charging station manufacturer actually can just put a Tesla plug on because they can produce their own. All the information is here and it's open to be used. So, well, let me know what you think about this. Do you prefer the Tesla standard or do you prefer the CCS? Or would you like to see a CHAdeMO? Actually, a CHAdeMO has really cool features and can do much more than it actually does here in North America with just 50 kilowatts. But that is a subject for another video another time. In any event, please subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up for this video, and go down below into the description and click on the Redbubble store link and go over to our Redbubble store and check out our merchandise there and maybe purchase a t-shirt, even though right now it's not so much t-shirt weather anymore, at least here in Montana. This morning was 10 degrees Fahrenheit out. It was a little chilly, but hey, we'll take it. It's winter time. So, in any event, thank you for watching. Goodbye.